The New York Knicks just signed a former first-round draft pick to a contract. But because they made this move, they had to waive some New York Knicks players. This includes their own draft pick, who they recently gave a contract to. We're going to break down all of this and so much more today. Let's get started. The New York Knicks signed Dylan Windler, who is a former first-round draft pick selected by the Cleveland Cavaliers with the 26th overall pick. Now, this was first reported by Adrian Wojnarowski. According to Woj, free agent guard/forward Dylan Windler has agreed on a two-way contract with the New York Knicks. According to agents Andy Schiffman and Mark Bartelstein of Priority Sports, Windler was the 26th overall pick to the Cleveland Cavaliers in the 2019 NBA draft. Now, this is something that really had me scratching my head. He's a guard/forward. The New York Knicks already have so many guards, we don't need another one. Why would you add another guard to this roster? And not only that, why would you give him another two-way contract? How many two-way contracts are the New York Knicks going to hand out? I feel like all they've done all offseason, besides trade Obi Toppin and sign Dante DiVincenzo, is just get a whole bunch of two-way players. And I'm not sure why. Dylan Windler, while he is a former first-round pick, I did some investigating into his play, what he did with Cleveland, and the numbers he overall gave them. And I can tell you one thing, it's not something to write home about. Dylan Windler is coming off of a season where he appeared in 3 regular season games for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Oh, and by the way, his career averages are 3.3 points, 2.3 rebounds per contest, while shooting 41.6% from the field and 32.2% from three-point range in 84 regular season games. Now, his G League numbers are a little bit better, averaging 12.2 points, 5.9 rebounds, and 1.1 assists per contest, while shooting 52.3% from the field and 40.7% from three-point range. So we can understand that in the G League, he did get better and his numbers did elevate to a certain degree. But of course, we can say with a lot of confidence that just because you're good in the G League doesn't mean you're going to be good in the NBA. And given his time in the NBA, what he's done with Cleveland these past 3 years, and overall his numbers, his career averages are nothing to write home about. If anything, they're subpar, and they're nothing that I would look at and say, oh yeah, there's a reason I would add him. That's a perfect reason to add him. If you look at his numbers, what he does, but most importantly, the role he plays being a guard, why would the New York Knicks add him? It doesn't make sense. Is he really going to see any time behind all the guards that we already have? The answer to that, I can answer it for you, is no. So why add him? And given his current three-point percentage, especially for his career, he doesn't shoot it all that well. So that's not something to get happy about. And in terms of his production and play, it's not really there. He's 26 years old, so even though he fits the Knicks timeline, in terms of players who played in the NBA and made a dent in the NBA already, he is far, far behind. He's barely played any games, and I think that means a lot. If you're still developing at 26 years old in this league, how much more development do you have before you hit your quote-unquote ceiling? So when the Knicks made the decision to add Dylan Windler to the team, it really had me scratching my head because I didn't understand the move. I still don't understand the move. And not only that, given this report by Fred Katz, they made a situation worse for themselves when they didn't have to. According to Fred Katz, he can confirm that the Knicks and Dylan Windler are in agreement on a two-way contract. The Knicks have 3 two-way contracts already on the books, meaning they have to release or convert someone. Nathan Knight and Trevor Keels are on 1-year deals, and Jalen Martin is on a 2-year deal. So look at this. The New York Knicks didn't have to add him, but because they added him, now they caused a problem for themselves. Oh, They signed too many two-way players, like we didn't know that already. And now they either have to waive one of these players or they'll have to convert one of these players' contracts into a standard NBA deal. But that would be the only way they would be able to keep the players that they have without releasing or waiving anybody. But again, it's a player that they didn't have and they didn't need. Dylan Windler doesn't solve any problems for the New York Knicks. It doesn't help them get better this season. And again, they have already so many guards, so he doesn't fill a need either. So it doesn't make sense to me. They created a problem for no reason. And now, because of that, they had to waive Trevor Keels. Yes, you heard me right. I didn't say anything wrong there. Trevor Keels, their own second-round draft pick, they waived him. They just signed Trevor Keels not even a couple of days ago to another two-way deal. And now, to make room for Dylan Windler, they had to waive Trevor Keels, their own draft pick. Now, maybe that says a lot in regards to how they feel and the value that they hold in regards to Dylan Windler. But in my opinion, Trevor Keels hasn't even hit 20 years old yet. Dylan Windler is 26. Now, I get it. First round pick, second round pick. I understand that. But if we're talking about development, we're talking about upside, and we're talking about potential, I'm always going to go with the younger kid than the older kid. In my opinion, I would have held on to Keels and I would have never even signed Dylan Windler because it doesn't really make sense to me. As first reported by Fred Katz of The Athletic, the Knicks plan to waive Trevor Keels to make room for Dylan Windler. The Knicks drafted Keels in the second round last summer. They do still retain his G League rights for the upcoming season. Not like that matters because they waived him their own draft pick to keep and sign Dylan Windler, a Cavs draft pick who's 26 years old, doesn't and hasn't really done much in his entire career, but we brought him along on another two-way contract to play a guard position, a position that we have filled by a number of notable players that are much, much, much better than him. I still don't understand the move. I'm still sitting here trying to understand why they did this. What is the reason they made this move? But again, what it does do is hurt them a little bit because it made them have to make decisions they didn't have to make. And not only did they have to waive Trevor Keels, they also had to waive Duane Washington Jr. So two players were waived in the process for the New York Knicks bringing along this former first round pick in Dylan Windler. It doesn't make sense to me. I still don't get it. But as mentioned, Duane Washington Jr. was another domino to fall in the process of the New York Knicks adding Dylan Windler to the team. And this was first reported by Ian Bagley of SNY, who stated the New York Knicks waived Duane Washington Jr. This was also confirmed by RotoWire. The New York Knicks offered Washington a two-way deal in February. However, he never saw any game action for the Knicks. But he may have to settle for an Exhibit 10 deal before training camp starts. According to Fred Katz, Washington picked up his qualifying offer, prompting the New York Knicks to release him. Another guard for the New York Knicks bites the dust. In this process of the Knicks adding former first-round pick chosen with the 26th overall pick by the Cleveland Cavaliers in Dylan Windler. To make room for him, the Knicks had to waive Trevor Keels, their own draft pick, and had to waive Duane Washington Jr. Now, I'm sure a lot of fans are not going to be crying at night that we waived him. But again, we didn't have to make any of these moves. We didn't have to do any of these moves. We were forced to do it because we wanted to add Dylan Windler to our team. Honestly, I really can't wait to see what this kid does. I'm going to be watching the G League, and I'm going to be watching every single opportunity I can to see what this kid can do. Because I really hope this kid is special and can do something really extraordinary for the New York Knicks. I'm not hoping for extraordinary in terms of being a superstar or an all-star in this league. I'm not thinking that far ahead. But if he can be a serviceable role player, I'll eat my words because I don't think he can even be that at this point of his career. So I would love for him to prove me wrong and do things that can help impact the New York Knicks in a positive way. But as of right now, all I'm seeing is the Knicks adding a player they didn't need, waiving 2 players they didn't need to waive, and adding another guard to a rotation that has so many guards that you can argue that the one position that we don't need to look at or fill this offseason is the guard spot. We need another power forward. We needed a power forward for the longest time because we only have Julius Randle. So in my opinion, what the New York Knicks should have done was transition Nathan Knight's contract into a standard deal because he allows us to get that backup power forward that we desperately need. He checks all the boxes and he's okay with playing a limited role behind Julius Randle because he did that for the Timberwolves last season. So that's what I would have done rather than waive my own draft pick. But that's not what the Knicks chose to do. They chose to waive Duane Washington Jr. and waive their own draft pick in Trevor Keels. I'm looking forward to seeing what Dylan Windler does, and I hope he makes me eat my own words because as of right now, this particular move on the New York Knicks' behalf doesn't make any sense. If you like this video, go ahead and leave a comment below, smash that like button, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knicks fans. Peace.